Hey everybody, this is Elvin Freitas, co-founder of the EdUp Experience, and today we are extremely excited to announce our paid subscription service. By subscribing today, you will get exclusive early access to ad-free episodes, extended episodes, bonus episodes, original content. That's right, original content and invites to special events, all while helping to sustain EdUp. To become a subscriber, go to edupexperience.com. That's EDUP experience.com and subscribe to our free email newsletter to learn how you can get access. Again, go to edupexperience.com. That's EDUP experience.com.
Welcome back, everybody. It's your time to ed up on the EdUp Experience podcast, where we make education your business. My name is Dr. Michelle Cantu-Wilson, and I'm your host today. I'm the Vice President of Workforce and Education and Outreach Strategist in Houston, and I'm a trustee at San Jacinto College. I'm filling in today, as I sometimes do, for the amazing, incredible, and world-famous Dr. Joe Salustio. Just a quick reminder that you've just discovered the most well-known and successful higher education podcast in the world. No other show has released as many episodes. No other show can boast an entire College Presidents series with over 270 conversations with higher ed CEOs. No other higher ed podcast producer and associated talent can say they crossed mediums and wrote a book on the information and the interviews collected. Look up Commencement, the Beginning of a New Era in Higher Education. That's the book. Finally, no other podcast can say it has created as many higher ed spinoffs as this one. Check out the website to see the entire EdUp network. Okay, so let's get to the show. I'm happy to highlight a program today that I discovered while I was supporting a recent Veterans Job Fair event with Workforce Solutions at TXRX Labs, and that's a nonprofit makerspace. And as I wandered around this awesome building, I saw a glass door and a very, very inviting space inside. And the words Prison Entrepreneurship Program caught my eye because as an educator, I'm always interested in education topics. I needed to know more, so I entered that space and I found Apollonia Soto. She's the executive assistant to the CEO, and she's the engagement coordinator for this program, and she told me all about it. And listeners, I had to bring this information to you because education is our business, and knowing important, powerful, impactful programs like these is part of the work. It's my pleasure to introduce Robert Gill Jr. He is the reentry manager at PEP, and I'll let Robert tell you about himself as we get started. Robert, welcome. It's so great to meet you.
Well, thank you. It's very, very nice to meet you as well.
Well, we're going to jump right in. Robert, tell me what you do and why you do it.
So I'm just going to kind of keep it simple. What I do is I help returning citizens back into society, their transition back into society. And the reason why I do it is because I myself, a year ago, July 13th, was a returning citizen into society as well. So there's a lot of relativity and there's a passion. We sit here and we say, well, you know, I'm not going to take advice or I'm not going to take any type of direction from somebody that has never experienced what I experienced, or they don't understand and what it feels like to walk a mile in my shoes. Mm-hmm. Well, I can honestly say that I do. And for the most part, I have not only walked one, but I've walked a couple of miles in that same pair.
So I think it's interesting you bring up an important topic right away, the power of representation, right? It's so hard to hear what anyone has to say if they're not being authentic. And Absolutely. So for you, you were looking for that representation in an opportunity, right? Who was it for you that introduced this program?
So I was sitting at the Walls unit in Huntsville, Texas, and I received an invitation. So in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, you kind of just overhear some hearsay about what the Prison Entrepreneurship Program is about. And to be quite honest, it's super prestigious whenever it comes to programs inside the prison system. Mm-hmm. So to sit down on your bunk and hope for an invitation, because it's not a self-soliciting program. You can't just reach out and say, hey, you know what, send me an invitation. Not at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Now that looks a little different.
Good.
So that's just basically how I came across it. That's I just received an invitation in the mail, and my eyes lit up.
That's amazing. And what did the program sound like to you? Like, what is it that they showed in the flyer or the email or however that collateral came to you? What is it that drew you to want to participate in something like an entrepreneurship program?
So just to take it back a little bit, before I went to the penitentiary, I was a pretty successful in my own right
Yeah.
paint contractor, right? And so I had a business, and we did fairly well. I did commercial and residential, and I also was uh, into, I guess maybe I was in the drug scene, right? So I sold a lot of drugs. So entrepreneurship and the entrepreneurial mindset was always something. One thing that they did leverage that caught my attention was accountability.
Hmm.
It was accountability. It was the structure. It was the network of opportunity that they said. Not only that, but it was the statistics that they used and said, hey, you know what, the recidivism rate gets you down to like 6%.
Hmm.
Um, and so these things caught my eye, especially for an individual that has made a decision and is taking action to solidify that decision that they've made within their lives.
Hmm.
This is just a space that allows you to be comfortable with continuing on with that walk.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think because of the independence of it, because of the opportunity, because it's self-driven. And I would imagine that that desire is very strong to take control and to, right any wrongs or correct any paths or start again or start fresh. I would imagine it's a combination of those things. Um, but I want to point out that I don't think that it's necessarily the right fit for everyone. I know I've had family members who were in the penitentiary, and that fresh start was just not that appealing, you know? Um, what about the structure do you feel has helped you the most, or what was the most inviting part where you felt like this is it, this is the fit for me?
Well, like I mentioned just a second ago, it's a space that they created back in 2004 is whenever the program was founded. And so in, like you just mentioned as well, like it's not a fit for everybody, and it's not. And especially in an environment that's it's so I would say flipped upside down. What's praised is doing the wrong thing, and what is kind of, I guess, made fun of, or just kind of looked at you're like the oddball, is doing the right thing. So
Mm.
the environment is just like I said, it's flipped upside down. So you're praised for doing the wrong thing and not praised for doing the right thing. And
Yeah.
so with this program, it did point out that there's no drug usage, there's no smoking, there's no tattooing, there's no gang affiliation of any sort, which I didn't do before joining the program anyhow.
Mhm.
But it's like I said, it's that space to allow you to live in your decision that you made to create a better version of yourself on a daily basis with comfortability.
Mhm.
And what was really, really appealing to me is, like I said, I had a business mindset already, and I said, okay, well, you know what, I really don't need to learn any more about business. I mean, I've done fairly well, but it was the network, right?
Mhm.
So that's what basically drew me to that,
Mhm.
to go ahead and submit the application. Now, when I actually got transferred and landed on one of the two units that facilitated, which I landed on the Oliver J. Bell unit in Cleveland, Texas. I stepped foot on there, and they introduced me to the program. Well, lo and behold, um, God had a little funny way of putting some boundaries in my life, and I didn't realize that I was going to need that as a man until then. So the brotherhood, as we call it, when I stepped into the brotherhood and I was accepted, it was about being a living example of what the expectation and the standard was to be in the brotherhood, and what this organization and what the program calls for you to uphold. Mm-hmm. And so we're driven by 10 driving values, and that's exactly what it entails. They're driving excellence, execution, wise stewardship, love, fun, and integrity. So whenever we're living by these 10 driving values on a daily basis, for me, whenever you basically, like I say, if you're 10 toes down in this decision and you've solidified it in your life, and you're willing to take the steps necessary in order to not only talk about it, but be about it, right? So if you live those 10 driving values on a daily basis, I mean, the consistency is only going to get you a successful result, right?
That's actually, yes, that sounds actually very Olympian. If you think about it, that sounds very, there's a book by a famous author, and I'm not going to remember his name, but he distinguishes what, people who become excellent at something do differently from people who never reach that. And it's just commitment and doing the thing every single day. And I think my favorite thing about what you said is daily committing to being the best version of yourself. I love that, because that is everyone. That is everyone's challenge every single day. So for you to go through the program, what was the outcome? Did you develop your business? Or are you the special outcome that is now engaged in the work, or is it both?
It's actually both. So I'm going to just kind of briefly touch on the experience, and what it is that we have going on there, just to give some context to where I'll end up. So the program is inside of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, and there's about 3 phases, for the lack of better words, just to identify. So you have the Leadership Academy correspondence course. So your modules, and it's in comparison to a couple of stories and testimonies, just to figure out where it is that you are and what type of direction that you would like to take, right? So after the completion of that, then you end up on to the transfer request is requested, and then you're transferred over to one of the units, which that's where the BPC portion of the program starts, which is the business plan competition. Now, going through that class portion is when we are given, or that's where we learn rather, the entrepreneurship curriculum from Baylor University, the Hankomer School of Business. That's where we are taught some financial literacy, which is Living in the Village by Ryan Mack. Mm-hmm. We are actually members of Toastmasters International as well. So we learn how to speak in front of audiences, because of course that's exactly what we're doing. We are compiling business ideas, and in turn being awarded a team, a CEO, CMO, CFO, and a COO, to, at the end of the business plan competition, exactly do that, compete to see who has the best business plan put together. So at the end of it all, we give a 9-minute, fully memorized business plan pitch, somewhat to give you a visual, just like Shark Tank. So you get up there and you introduce yourself, your idea, what the financials are, the operations, your marketing strategies, so on and so forth. Wow. So I did that. I was actually a CEO. My business idea was Refusion. So it was mineral carbonated distilled waters, and they were infused with 100% organic fruits, vegetables, minerals, and vitamins. So that's kind of what I had going on. Graduated, which you get a full cap and gown. Family comes into the auditorium. I mean, it's really, really nice. It's, for some, it's the first time that they've ever walked across the stage. I know it was mine. So you do that, and then it's a peer-driven program. So then you become what's called a servant leader. So you are assigned a job in a department. You have media team, graphics design, Toastmasters, entrepreneurship, and you teach the upcoming class behind you what exactly it is that you just were taught. So it continuously it's a continuance of learning, because you're just so consumed at the beginning with all kinds of assignments, then you actually teach it. So now the understanding comes to you a little better.
Right. If you can teach it, then you definitely know it.
Right. Okay. So then I became the head peer educator, and now fast forward. Now, about 5 days before being released, parole said that I had a condition of my parole that I was not allowed to go back to Amarillo, where I fell out of. That's where I lived before I went to prison. Mm-hmm. And I fell back on one of the 3 transitional houses that we have here in Houston, which we have 2 as well in Dallas. So I came to Houston, and about 60 days out, I was very, very fortunate to be presented with the opportunity to work as a member of the organization here at the Prison Entrepreneurship Program. So within 60 days, a staff member with PEP, and as you said, hey, both, yeah, it was both, because now I've obtained an electronic kits company called the Static Learning, which they are how-to soldering kits, and we target STEM programs, which now we're moving in the direction of STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, mechanics. So we have an art aspect that we're actually trying to implement at the moment. Mm-hmm. And I am still a paint contractor on the side. So.
And is it normal for someone to work for the Prison Entrepreneurship Program? It seems like a really fast track for you, but I'm going to point out as an educator all the things that I'm seeing, which is you have high critical thinking skills. You are an excellent speaker. You're a good storyteller. You understand everything about your program because you've taught it. So were you the exception, just one of those outstanding students who was kind of destined to hit this point?
Hey everybody, this is Elvin Freitas, co-founder of the EdUp Experience. Are you enjoying the conversation so far? Good, I hope so. Did you know that you can actually hear this conversation early before anybody else and ad-free, so you don't have to hear my voice during these ads? And did you also know that you could get extended episodes, bonus episodes, original content? That's right, original content and invites to special events, all while helping to sustain EdUp? Well, if you didn't know, now you know. So go to edupexperience.com, that's EDUP experience.com, and become a subscriber today. First, you got to sign up to our free email newsletter, and then you'll find out how to become a subscriber. Again, go to edupexperience.com.
Yes, very, very fortunate. But I'm very, very fortunate to be at the level of maturity and comprehension, as you say, that living a life that's super fulfilling and living with intention, for living on purpose and for a purpose. And I think that is what has gotten me ultimately where I am today. Mm-hmm. is because that laying yourself aside and living for something that you believe in. And the reason why I'm so passionate about it is because I understand coming from the environment or coming from a lifestyle that I lived previously to now being in this environment, this atmosphere, and given this opportunity, that it's not easy. So I respect and I admire and I commend an individual such as myself that is coming behind me, that is willing to put in the day-to-day grind, day-to-day effort, day-to-day commitment, and mm-hmm. continue to stay disciplined. Mm-hmm. And it's a decision that you make on a daily basis, mm-hmm. So I respect it. I love it. I admire it. I commend it. So if you're willing to do the right thing, I'm like, let's go. Let's go. I got you, bro. I'm fully supportive of it.
And that's, that is the essence of teamwork, and it's the essence of mentorship. What about the younger program participants? Is this as impactful for them? Do they struggle more?
I would say yes and no. Yes and no, because like I said, we cultivate and we we instill a mindset. We instill a belief system. We are consumed in the program while we're going through the class portion
Mm-hmm.
from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. for 4 months straight,
That's amazing.
Monday through Friday. And it's just, I mean, it's speaking. It's about relativity. You know, it's about past experiences, and we have events. We have, which we consider ourselves alumni, because when we get out, we have a 12-week class as well called eSchool on Tuesday evenings. We'll kind of speak about that later. But we ultimately would like to get to the alumni status, and
Okay.
we call ourselves a brotherhood. It's kind of almost like a fraternity.
Mm-hmm.
So being alumni allows you to go back into the unit and speak to the current class or speak to the servant leaders.
Mm-hmm.
And so for the young ones, it's a little different, because you would like for them to be a little more mature mentally, and some are, and some just get it, and some don't. But it's okay, because that's where the compassion comes in, and you got to meet them. You got to meet them where they're at, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would say that's where the passion and compassion comes in. You got to be able to have the patience to sit there and to nurture, right? And hopefully there's something that you do,
Mm-hmm.
something that you say, something that they see,
Mm-hmm.
just kind of sparks, you know, just kind
Yeah.
of turns that switch on, and they get it together. But everybody should have the opportunity, for sure. So
It's a very intense program. That is a
ve-
very intense education program and a model. Um, are there other programs like this? And if there are, what sets PEP apart?
so from my understanding, Michelle, there is not. There is not. And that's the prestige of what we have going on here, is that in the state of Texas, there is nothing like this. You have the programs that TDCJ offers,
Mm-hmm.
that, and you go in for 4 to 6 months, you get a certificate, and then you're done. And that's one of the main questions that we get whenever they call into the office. They say, okay, well, when is my son going to complete the program? What is he going to do then? Like, what? I said, excuse me, man, but just to be quite honest, this never stops if he so chooses to. And that's the beauty of it, is that
Oh,
it starts
that is so,
inside.
yeah.
It starts inside, but it actually outflows out here. And that's the difference between what we have going on and what they got going on.
Mm-hmm.
Not to discredit any program or anything that they offer as well, but that's where I come in. That's where my reentry department team comes in. This is what we do. We help returning citizens with their transition back into society, with clothing, um, taking them to the first parole visit, taking them to go get healthcare coverage, take them to the food stamp office, so that they can have a peace of mind and have some level of comfortability, that they don't have to focus on the bare essentials,
Right.
the necessities they have. So we give them care packages and like I said,
Yeah.
and so that now they don't focus on that, and they focus on this. And what that is those necessities, and what this is their future.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, and the basic needs, we see that everywhere. We see that in K through 12 education. We see that in higher education. If you are having to worry about your basic needs, it's harder to learn. Everything is more stressful, and stress is
right.
contagious. We know so much about uh, the impacts of high poverty lifestyle. I grew up very, very poor, and I had to face a lot of challenges of just staying zoomed in on classes and putting myself first and seeing a vision for the future. I can imagine the challenges associated with being a returning citizen, but having that desire, right? And if you have that strong motivation and that strong desire, and you have your basic needs met, and you're ready to live a new life and to
Mhm.
start again and make an impact in the world the way that it sounds like you're so committed to doing, I mean, I feel like you're going to be much more successful if you have that network. So that leads me to what are the opportunities for people to support this program?
It's Good thing that you asked. So there's multiple ways that you can plug in. We have different types of avenues. We have workshops that you can do online. We actually have um, we have events on the inside, just depending on what type of if you feel comfortable enough to go into prison, uh, that's awesome. You know, we strongly encourage at least one event. But we have transitional house dinners. We have like I mentioned before, we have e-school every Tuesday evening at 7 o'clock. So we have a lecture over one of the 9 topics over reentry. And then you can actually be a sponsor and mentor one of these guys through their first 90 days, their first 12 weeks out. And it's an amazing experience to see them whenever they first get out and and then they're like a deer in a headlight. And then at week 12, they're super confident, they've got a job, and hopefully maybe now thinking about starting a business. So there's those aspects. Yeah, so we have the online workshops, we have the events, we have sponsorship, we have house dinners. Yeah, there's just a multitude of ways that we have donors. So yeah, if you just want to jump on the website, pep.org, there's a lot more of information that you can find out. And yeah, we'll hear from you soon type thing, right?
Yes, very good. So as we're closing, what is it that you want our audience to know or understand? Any closing thoughts that you have, anything that you want to make sure that you communicate on behalf of yourself and on behalf of the Prison Entrepreneurship Program?
So on behalf of the Prison Entrepreneurship Program, we want you to know that your aspirations and your dreams of having a better future is valid, and we would like just to support that in any way that we can. If you have any questions or anything like that, just look on our website, contact me. We definitely can. We understand is what I want to know. We understand. We know what it is to go through this process. And yeah, just reach out, contact us. And as far as me, on a more personal level, I just want you to know that if you have gone to the penitentiary, and as they say, we are ex-cons and we do have an X on our back, but wear that X proudly, because it doesn't have to be a red one. It can actually be a golden one. So don't allow your circumstances or your past experience to, I guess, label you as what could have been or what should have been. Just do not allow it to dictate or define you. I actually am very expressive whenever it comes to me coming out of the penitentiary. I like to have people know that I have gone to prison, because I'm proud of myself. It was a blessing in disguise, and there's always hope. We understand that it's not easy, but just make a solid decision and live in that decision.
Excellent. And I go back to the idea of starting every day, and living with intention. I'm not going to forget that lesson from you. I hope that this podcast can reach people who need this type of support, who need to know that there is this type of innovative thinking around supporting people who are reentering society. I hope that there are people out there who feel called to donate to this important program and who want to learn more. I know that you have the large business plan competition. Apollonia showed me how that works in the space. Hope people will visit your space at TXRX Labs and see what an amazing environment you have set up, and how it is indeed set up like a mini university, with classrooms and, Zoom rooms and, opportunities. So I'm just very impressed with the effort, and I wish you and the organization all the best of luck. I plan to visit again. I hope to be present for the next graduation. I think that had this program been available to my own family members, there would have been a different outcome, and they might still be here, with us today. So I take this very personally, and I thank you so much for sharing your story. I look forward to sharing it with the wider network. We're going to transition to closing now. So folks, you have been listening to Robert Gill, who is the reentry manager at Prison Entrepreneurship Program in Houston. We are happy to have you listening today, and we hope that you will download this episode and share it with others. Robert, again, I wish you the best of luck. And to our audience, thanks for joining us. Remember to like, follow, and share the EdUp Experience podcast. And as we say around here, my friends, you've just ed up.
Hey, everybody. This is Elvin Freitas, co-founder of the EdUp Experience. Did you enjoy that conversation? I hope you did. Did you know that you can actually hear this conversation early on and ad-free? And you can also hear extended episodes, bonus episodes, original content. That's right, original content, and invites to special events, all while helping to sustain EdUp. Did you know that? Well, if you didn't know, now you know. To become a subscriber, go to edupexperience.com. That's EDUP experience.com to subscribe to our free email newsletter to learn how you can get access. Again, that's edupexperience.com. That's EDUP experience.com.